amazing what God can do with ordinary people. I'm Sam Martin, and way back in 1990, during a trip to Africa, God let me see things that I had never seen in my life. I took a group to a small village where, when we entered the village, we heard a child crying. And I noticed his skin was covered in sores, his face, his hands, his legs. And I was told that the little boy's name was Sammy, and that really there was nothing anyone could do to help him. And I said, there must be something. And the lady who was a worker with another social agency said, Dr. Martin, you know better than that. Sammy has AIDS. There's no cure for AIDS. Nobody can do anything. And what's more, there's hundreds of thousands of Sammys in Africa. Out of that experience, a children's mission was born. The Arms of Jesus Children's Mission. Because one night in a vision, I kept seeing children running into the arms of Jesus. It was Mark chapter 10, verse 13. And as time went on, the ministry touched the Dominican Republic, then the country of Haiti, and the country of Guatemala. A beautiful country, the land of eternal spring, and yet a country where there is tremendous need. We began a very simple program in Guatemala, a program to help families. And when a child comes into the program, we find a sponsor, North America, Europe, and they give so much a month, and that enables us to provide food not only for the child, but for the entire family. It enables us to make sure there is medical care and all the other needs that a child has. And after a lot of prayer and discussion with our Guatemalan director, the idea of having a school was born in January 2002 in the village of Paramas, which is about an hour's drive from Guatemala City, a very rural area, country area. We found the property and we began a simple school with 32 students, grades 1, 2, and 3. We hired the staff, the teachers, and we began to develop an educational program. The government of Guatemala recognized what we were doing, we received approval, and the school at Paramas began to grow. Here we are today with over 340 students enrolled in that school. We've put up numerous buildings, second stories, and even now we continue with construction as funds become available, so we can perhaps in the future not only add more grades, but perhaps even a trade school. But we recognized there were special needs children in the area. Children who are kind of pushed to the back of society, to the back of their family and forgotten. And so at the Paramas School at this time, we have a very special class, a class for special needs children. Teacher is extremely qualified in that area, and we are seeing tremendous things happen. A couple of years ago, another challenge came from the village of Pampai. The education department asked us, could we help operate this school? And so we have a second school with about 60 indigenous children. There's no public transportation that will bring a child from, for example, San Lorenzo to the school or from the outlying areas. So we recognized a few years ago that we needed a good bus. This is a bus that was purchased a few years ago for Paramas and has done a tremendous job for us. Actually, I bought the bus, we drove it to Miami, shipped it over, and it's run tremendously well, but then there were problems with the engine. And being from North America, it had a Cummins engine, can't get them here, so they're trying to get another engine. But the problem is, this work began in November and we're now in January, so almost 3 months. And in the meantime, we're scrambling to find ways of getting the children to school. They can walk, but it will take 2 or 3 hours for some of these little ones. Usually during a year, from February till October, we have 1 or 2 teams a month visit Guatemala. Guatemala is relatively easy to reach from anywhere in North America. From Canada, we would fly from Toronto to Houston or Dallas or Miami, and then 2 hours from the American change point, we're in Guatemala City, the capital. These teams come from churches, from different groups, and when they're there, they can visit sponsored children. Indeed, they take part in our monthly food distribution program with sponsored families. They hand out gifts that donors have sent, and they see firsthand, and they come back and say, hey, this really, really works. We were giving out gifts, furniture, to families that sponsors and others had given for them and their behalf. And one lady with her family received a chest of drawers, a little kind of cupboard unit, a bed, and I walked over to wish her God's blessing. And as I walked over, she just fell on her knees before me. And she put her hands up like this and began to pray and weep. But then she said, in all my life, I've asked people to help and nobody would help. I've prayed that somebody would help, and at last, you've come, the mission has come. Mission teams do all kinds of wonderful things to change the lives of children. They might do a VBS at a school, go into a village with an evangelistic outreach, or they might do construction. And we're just thrilled at our house building program in Guatemala. Teams raise the funds to build a home, or 5 homes, 6 homes. We've just had one team build 6 homes in a week, which is incredible. And they start from the ground floor, they work with the family and our workers lay the foundation, the team goes in and they build a simple 2-roomed house.
Gracias a nuestra hermana en Cristo.
I am very thankful, and I wanted to thank Sister Chris, who was able to give us this house, so now we are able to be more comfortable with my husband and my children, so thank you.
It was in 1998 that we as a small mission built our first house. Today, we look back over a number of years, this being 2007, and we thank God that 370 families have received a home here in Guatemala. We went to a home where there was a young girl, beautiful girl, and she was on crutches. She was born with some problems with one leg, with deformity. She's had 3 operations and the pain has become so severe. Tried many doctors, and they came to the conclusion the only answer would be to remove her leg from the knee down. But we were able just to lay hands on the child and to pray for her. Well, what does it cost to sponsor a child to become involved at that level? The answer is very simple. If you're like me, a cup of coffee a day is appreciated, at least one. And all you have to do is sacrifice what it costs you for a cup of coffee. And that would make the difference in a child's life. How can you say no to a face like this? Huh? I'm just reading these words from Psalm 41. Blessed is he who considers the poor. The Lord will deliver him in time of the trouble. The Lord will preserve him and keep him alive, and he will be blessed on the earth. Do you know, I believe God's word speaks to us today. Caring for the poor could mean sponsoring a child. It could mean making it possible for a child to attend school. It could mean providing the funds to build 1, 2, 3 more homes for families that are suffering because when the rainy season comes, the cornstalk home that they have gives them no protection and no warmth. Perhaps there is someone and you could provide a bus or 2 buses for us. And my friend, I just know that when you and I care for the poor, God keeps his word. And he will bless us as long as we're on this earth. God bless you.